All right, guys, it's been an hour. I set my timer. Kids will get that. So that I can get back here and get the last, well, it won't be the last one. I'm going to try to get all 5 done today. But this is day 8 of stay-at-home work. So we left off with you guys working on questions, and I'm write myself some notes here so I wouldn't forget what I'm doing from day to day. So yesterday, you guys were supposed to upload for me questions 3 and 4 onto Google Classroom. So want to make sure that you all have been pretty prompt last week about getting those done. And so hopefully that trend is continuing, and that's kind of what's happening. That's the expectation anyway. So I want to go over our questions from our day 2 reading. So if you don't mind, I want you to go ahead and take out your reading notebooks, and you probably already have those. You're going to need a pencil, of course, to make corrections, or a pen to make corrections, so that pens are preferably, so that you can see what was your answer versus what did you have to add in. And sometimes that helps you when you're studying a little bit to understand how you missed it, what you need to do to kind of improve as we move forward. So number 1 was that basic vocabulary kind of question, or context clue, I should say. It said, which word means the same as vivid on page 108? And your choices were dangerous, empty, detailed, or trusty. And the correct answer there was detailed. Vivid and detailed mean the same thing. So if someone asks you to describe a piece of clothing that you have on, you're going to give a detailed description. It's going to be vivid to the point that someone else can kind of make a mind movie or mind picture of what that looks like. It's very vivid or detailed. Your number 2, I almost kind of gave it away yesterday. I had to catch myself with a shut up, Miss Gill moment. Was, why does Anne Marie act like a silly little girl in front of the soldiers? She acts like this silly little girl so that they won't suspect that anything is going on. She's thinking back to Kirsty, and when they got stopped on day 1, week 1 of this book, when Anne Marie and Ellen are practicing their run for the weekly, looking for the word, like races, that's it, at school, and they're practicing, and then all of a sudden they are stopped by these German soldiers, and Ellen and Anne Marie are just kind of like, oh Lord, what are we gonna do? But Kirsty's like, what are you doing? I mean, she shows no fear. And we talked about character trait of Kirsty during that time. And so now Anne Marie's trying to draw from how her sister acted and how she didn't show a lot of fear, just kind of like, I'm Cecilia, I don't know, I should be scared kind of moment. And so when it says, why does she act like a silly little girl, is because she doesn't want them to be suspicious, okay? And so that's the gut of what we're looking for there. Now, also, Mama told her to act like a silly little girl. And so if we wanted to go back and look for evidence on that one, we could go back and find that. And so my cat's over here trying to climb up on me. And that would have been from day 2 reading, where Mama's explaining her the importance of just act like a silly little girl. Those were the words that she actually used. So let's move to day 3. How does the author show that the soldiers are suspicious? There are 3 different places that you would have gone to get textual evidence to support this. The way that the author is showing us that that they are suspicious is by describing how they insist on searching through that basket. You know, it wasn't just like, oh, you got a basket? All right, you're just a kid, go on. No, they went through every item in that basket. So the first thing you could have done is you could have gone to page 114. At the very bottom of the page, because I would have said the author shows that the soldiers are suspicious by how they look through the basket. On page 114, it says, the soldiers reached forward and grabbed the crisp loaf of bread from the basket. Also, on page 115, it says the soldier picked up the wedge of cheese. Also on 115, the soldier reached for the apple. And then on 116, it says, and then he pulled out the flowered cotton napkin. So when we're looking here, there was textual evidence abound. You just kind of had to look for it. And really, sometimes you got to picture that answer in your mind. Well, this is what I would say. But then you got to think about, okay, I feel like that's right, but where's my evidence to support it? So there's 4 good pieces that could go in here on 3 different pages, and you needed to have at least 2, okay? So we always want to remember that the rule of thumb is if there is more than 2, if there's 3, 4, 5, 6, etc., if it's not specified how many pieces of evidence, you always want to use 2, okay? And that's really not something we've talked a lot about in class, so we kind of want to, that's a new piece of information. We always want to see about at least giving 2 pieces of evidence. That takes us to our end in mind question, which is being able to provide evidence from the story to support the theme. Now, at this point, we all know what the theme is. It's sticking together and helping others. So, really and truly, we want to think about how is Ellen, supporting this theme of sticking together and helping others? Well, it's by being so brave when confronted with these soldiers. So, Anne-Marie bravely faces these Nazi guards in her attempt to help get the packet to Uncle Henrik. She understands the importance of her actions and what she needs to do to help others. She doesn't really know what's in the packet. She doesn't truly understand what is there. But what she does understand is that her job right now is extremely important, not only for Uncle Henrik's safety, but for all those that have been entrusted to Henrik to get to safety. And so we're talking about the other Jewish families and people that he's carrying on his boat to get to Switzerland. So that's how she's helping others at this point. Even though she is terrified, she's going along with that. So I'm going to give you just a moment, and I'd like you to think about what I've said. And, in class, this goes a whole lot slower. I mean, we're pulling sticks, we're scoring with a rubric. So I know I'm rattling on a little fast for you to write. So I'd like you to take a moment, write down what you can remember. If you need help in making sure you've got the correct evidence, shoot me an email, shoot me a text, asking me to clarify something for you, and I'll do that. And I'll make sure that I back up and get that done for you so that you've got the correct information that you need to be successful on the test. So I'm going to watch my timer here. I'm going to give you about 30 to 45 seconds to kind of work on that, and then we're going to pick right back up. Okay? While you do that, I'm going to get things ready for what I'm going to do next. Eating a piece of candy. That's right.